Hola everyone, I'm Cynthia Isaguirre and welcome to our La Vida special. We are here at the iconic Joe T. Garcia's in Fort Worth because how else would we celebrate the holidays than with food? And I am blessed to be surrounded by our La Vida team here, and we are having something called a Tamalada. Cheers, salud!
Salud.
Meaning we are all making tamales, or at least trying to make tamales, and sharing our favorite stories with you. And Mariel, I know this is a tradition you grew up with.
Yes, tamaleadas are a Mexican tradition. And basically it's a get-together to make tamales because if anyone has ever made them before, you know they take forever. It's so much better whenever you are enjoying the company that you're with that, you're making the tamales. So this is a fun tradition that has been passed down from abuelitas to moms to grandkids, and really it has expanded not just Mexican tradition. I mean, I feel like a lot of countries now have their own version of tamaladas.
Absolutely. And you know what? Rebecca Lopez, when I first got to WFAA, she had a tamalada and invited me. And really, it made me feel very inclusive and really like a part of the team. And she made sure to have a margarita machine there. And I love the traditions, like you said, from throughout Latino America. Because for us, our version of the tamalada is making empanadas. And we make Colombian empanadas in my household. Maria, you guys make your own version of el tamal in Peru.
That's right, yeah. It's a little different as far as the seasoning and spices. We use a banana leaf, so it gets that different flavor to it, but I'll show you in a moment.
And Adriana, you grew up with the tamaladas too. Now, would you help out?
I did. No, I would hide. The tias and the mom, come over here so you can learn how to make them. I just love the chisme and walking away. And then I'd come back and eat them.
And while we're making these tamales, let's focus on a moment that was so special for so many of us. It is the moment Celia Cruz, the queen of salsa, became the first Afro-Latina to be featured on U.S. currency, the quarter. Here's our friend, Dia Wall.
She really was the same at home.
These photos portray a close-knit family.
Here she is. We lived, as many Latinos do, in a multi-generational household. This was the house that I grew up in Queens, New York. It's not deceiving from the photo. This is the actual size, which was tiny.
In the midst of countless moments captured, there was one
These pictures I love.
big star.
From when she was young. What a babe.
The incomparable Celia Cruz.
Celia, Tia, as we called her, was really funny. Her laugh sounded like tinkling bells.
And her music sounds and feels like joy. Now, cemented in a quarter, part of a program at the U.S. Mint.
That catchphrase, azúcar, was, she interacted with the audience that way.
Phoebe Hemphill designed and sculpted the coin for the Queen of Salsa.
I knew I had to convey Celia's spirit and joy and energetic stage presence while performing. And so I thought the design had to have a lot of energy.
She was just authentically herself. And she brought Cuba with her wherever she went, and Afro-Cuba. She was very involved in her styling, so the wigs and the nails, and all of that was important to her.
It feels like your design has so much texture and richness. How are you able to make that come to life?
I was urged to use the famous rumba dress that she donated to the Smithsonian. I guess that's my favorite part.
This may be another in a long list of honors for the icon. It just sparkles and shines a bit more.
But to have a quarter, that just embodies who she was in her life and what she meant to Latinos and non-Latinos all over the world.
Stamping Celia Cruz and her legacy in American history.
This is the pinnacle, really, to have a little piece of my sculpture in somebody's pocket. It's kind of cool.
She loved this country. She loved what she did. She did everything with passion. And it's beautiful that she's being able to be recognized.
In Dallas, I'm Dia Wall.
Truly a legend. Our thanks to Dia Wall. And now we want to get to the tamales, and our resident foodie, Adriana de Alba, you're going to show us how to make the traditional Mexican tamale.
Yes, this is how my mom taught me. So we do the traditional red chili or the green chili. I personally love the red. Today we're doing chicken.
Okay.
A lot of people love beef or pork. Some people do the green chili con queso. They have a dessert tamale, but we're gonna keep it simple today. So the first thing we do, we have the masa, and you can do this store-bought. You can make it yourself.
Okay.
We usually buy it. My mom now has started making it. But what we're gonna do, we're just gonna spread it evenly on our hoja.
And you start on the larger part.
On the large
hoja.
part.
Okay.
And the smooth
leaf.
part, yes. And from here, we're just gonna take some of the pollo, the chicken, just a little bit so we can wrap it nicely. And my mom would always yell at me, you're adding too much masa or you're making it too thin. At that point, I just walk away because I can't get it right. Let the tias make it, right?
Yes.
So the way we wrap, people do it differently. Again, I just go right, left,
Right, left.
and then just flap it over.
Perfect. Okay.
It's easy. Then we're gonna pop it into our steamer. Once it's in our steamer, that just takes care of it. You'll have a delicious tamale at the end and a good time. Pair it with some atole and you're good.
And you know, every family has their own tradition and their own recipe. I want to bring in Maria Delgado, our marketing and brand manager, and your beautiful mother. Tell us about the Peruvian tamal.
Okay, so it is a little bit different. I did have to have my mom Marisa here because unlike Adriana, my foodie level is pouring a bowl of cereal. All right, so this is the expert here. So masa is a little bit different. Can you explain how we start?
Well, we just make this masa, but we don't call masa. It's tamale made with corn. Okay. And then we season it with different spices. We have panca, we have yellow pepper, and we have the achote. And then we make a marinade, and we put the belly pork. And then after that, with that marinade, we cook our masa. And we have this the result. A piece of pork, a piece of black olive.
So we have 2 pieces of banana leaves here. So we're gonna take it like this first.
Yeah.
So then we're gonna kind of fold it here in half, another time, and then we're gonna do it again.
And this is our final product. So we love our onions, pickled onions we call it here, but we call salsa criolla.
This is what
And
it
then
looks
you
like.
put in the top.
And you want to eat it on the banana leaf too. You don't just rip it out. You want to eat it on here to get the flavor of it. And that's the final product.
Buen provecho. While they are cooking, I wanted to take a moment to talk about a special recognition this year. Back in 2022, we told you about the Blackwell School located in the West Texas town of Marfa. The story behind the school is a remarkable one. It was built to segregate Mexican-American children. And decades later, it stands as a lesson of our dark history here in the U.S. And just a few months ago, the Blackwell School was established as the nation's newest national park. Here's Rebecca Lopez.
It's really nice to go back and look at all these memories.
Those were my golden years.
They came to remember.
No problems, no taxes, no have to work, no nothing.
Their childhood.
That's me.
Their classmates.
And that was Paco and Manuel Marquez.
Manuel Aguirre was a good football player.
Oh yeah, I had Mrs. Wallet.
The games they played.
This was our basketball team.
Were you guys good?
Of course we were good. Blackwell was always good.
The memories in this school.
This is a good school.
And never forget.
Even though it was all just Hispanic people or just us, we never really missed anybody else.
The former students of Blackwell Elementary School in Marfa want people to know their history.
It's been done, it was done, and we lived through it.
The 3-room schoolhouse was built in 1909.
the way it was.
And while there were no laws specifically separating children of Mexican descent, Blackwell Elementary was segregated and only attended by Mexican-American children.
I am right there.
Mario Rivera and his wife Alice both attended Blackwell in the 1950s.
Because when we came here into Blackwell, I didn't know we were segregated. Nobody told me. I didn't even know what the word meant.
It was the way of life for Mexican Americans back then.
Well, in society, you learn at a young age to stay away from where you were not wanted.
Jesse Silva says racism was everywhere.
That's where I learned about racism, here in Marfa.
Jesse recalls the day they had a funeral for the Spanish language. The students had to write on a piece of paper, "I will never speak Spanish again," and put it in a little coffin.
So they got that little box, they put it in the earth, and they covered it up. So it was a mock funeral. From then on, anyone speaking Spanish would get punished. Discipline started immediately.
Felt personal.
Gretel Inc. is the president of the Blackwell Elementary Alliance, a group working to save the school. She says one of the teachers wanted students to become fluent in English, so she held the funeral to ban the language.
So many kids only spoke Spanish at home, and they felt like they were being denied their heritage.
At a reunion decades later, the former students unearthed Mr. Spanish, the coffin that was used. They did it to reclaim their voice. Leo Salgado was among them.
The way it was back then, and I don't care how you look at it, it's still history.
Leo was among the first former students to begin restoring the old school, which shut down in 1965.
Yeah, Leonel Salgado, 3rd grade, 1944.
Even donating some of his personal items, including one of his report cards.
And we want them to know that it did exist.
Gretel says the school is named after longtime principal Jesse Blackwell.
It not only tells the story of segregated education, but it's also a door into all of the ways that Hispanic, Latino people in America, Mexican Americans specifically here in Texas, have been discriminated against, have been segregated for as long as this has been America.
Marfa is now a thriving tourist destination for people from all walks of life, many not realizing the struggles and the stories of Mexican Americans, a history worth learning, but never repeating. In Marfa, I'm Rebecca Lopez.
One of my favorite traditions is that we always find a reason to get together again. That's why Rosca de Reyes is so fun. It's basically king's cake. So if you get the slice that happens to have the baby Jesus in it, then it's your turn to host the Tamalada next time around.
Something that I still don't understand, my grandma told us this, is that when you make tamales, you cannot leave the room because the tamales are not gonna cook well, so you have to stay indoors the whole time, which I don't understand why, but I still do it. Every time I make tamales, I cannot leave the room until they're cooked.
And my favorite holiday tradition is in a lot of Latino American countries, they do Christmas on midnight of the 25th, and other Latino American countries like Honduras will do it a whole 24 hours before. So on the 24th, we'll wake up, we'll have Christmas, we'll open gifts, we'll eat, we'll go visit family. And then after that, the 25th is a little boring because everything is closed. We usually just kick back and watch movies. And I always enjoy the time that I get to spend with my family during that time too.
My favorite Christmas tradition, honestly, is being around with my family and bringing up old stories of the past, like when we were kids, laughing about different ways our family embarrassed one another, and honestly just getting back together and really just living and figuring out what we're gonna do for the next year.
So one of my favorite traditions is making Christmas cookies or galletas with my family. I think the holidays really are a time to slow down. We're constantly on the go, but this is really a time to catch up, share memories, and just come together as a family.
My favorite holiday tradition was staying up till midnight on Christmas Eve. I know a lot of people don't do that, but we would burst fireworks right at midnight and stay up all night and celebrate into the morning for Christmas to celebrate.
It was always the eating. I didn't really, as a kid, take part in the making of the tamales or making of any of the desserts. But now I love making buñuelos with my mom. There's this little sugary treat for the holidays. Now, as I'm older and as an adult and as a parent, just to pass on the traditions that my mom and dad had. I just want my kids to kind of like recognize those traditions and pass it along to them.
Many of our La Vida stories feature Hispanics who are making us proud. And Adriana, you got a big get this year.
It was so much fun, Izzy. You know, more people are watching the WNBA. They're watching women's basketball. It was a banner year for them, and more people have eyes on the first Mexican-born player.
Still some time to get a shot off.
She's the competitive force.
Seneschal launches it, goes on,
making history in college basketball.
extra pass to Seneschal.
Demanding that ball and using her footwork.
Through Lopez, Seneschal.
Trusting the journey was big to me.
That journey to the WNBA began at the age of 8 for Dallas Wings guard Lopez-Sénéchal.
Every step led to something new for me.
New countries and new cultures for the Mexican-French player born in Guadalajara, Mexico. Life and her career would lead her to France and Ireland before the MAAC Player of the Year landed a 5th-year spot at UConn. But this moment in 2023 was the turning point.
The Dallas Wings select Lopez-Sénéchal.
Lopez-Sénéchal drafted into the WNBA.
Well, she ended up going 5th overall.
An overwhelming moment in the first round.
It was a very proud moment for me, you know, for my Mexican family. They were all, you know, very happy, very proud of me.
The 5th overall pick is also the first Mexican-born player drafted in WNBA history.
To be honest, I didn't even know it was gonna be a thing. I didn't even know I was the first Latina Mexican-born to be drafted.
What does that mean to you?
It's something that I'm, you know, very proud of. I always say I hope not to be the only one.
She stays connected to her roots, visiting family in Mexico annually. Whether it's on or off the court, that's what keeps her grounded.
Having family dinners, having, you know, reunions, we love that, meeting at, you know, my grandma's house.
Little moments that help her prepare to show up for the big moments that only seem to grow by day.
What's it been like to see this growing energy around women's sports, particularly the WNBA?
Yeah, it's been great. People are realizing that to see the women athletes are, you know, as impressive as other athletes.
While this athlete may be the first WNBA player from Mexico, she hopes she won't be the last.
What do you hope little girls hear from you?
To really follow their journey and to know that there's not one specific journey and progress. Yes.
Her competitive spirit led her journey to this court.
Pam, you gave us the worst ball.
Oh my God, how could you tell?
But during a shoot around,
hopefully I can still.
It was clear.
It's a cake.
It's her laid back vibe.
Okay.
Here you go.
And patience.
Where do you look? Why is it doing that?
It's okay, you're getting closer.
Here we go.
That's it. Come on.
With an amateur like me that make the first Mexican-born WNBA player such a joy.
It's deflated.
We're gonna blame you on the ball. Here we go.
Oh, come on.
In Arlington.
Finally.
I'm Adriana Down.
Gosh, it only took 50 tries.
Yeah.
A mission of La Vida is representation. And while our team works hard to tell the stories of our community, we also want you to share yours. That's why we started Yo Soy. It means I am in English. And as we head to break, we want to share the story of the man that brought us Cacique.
Yo soy empresario. Yo soy cocinero. Yo soy chicano. Yo soy Brendan Hurtado. My heritage is Mexicano. My family's from DF, Mexico City, and I'm really proud of where I come from. I would go to my grandparents' house in the morning with my mom for work because she worked for my grandparents, and I would have homemade Mexican food every day. And those are the memories that I have that kind of captured as a youth and transferred to my restaurants here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You know, one of the things that my grandfather instilled in me and that my dad instilled in me whenever I was little was a saying, échale ganas, because we're Mexicanos, we can do anything. Anything you put your mind to, we're resilient. And my grandfather was resilient, my father's resilient, and I'm resilient, and that's why we're here. I'm gonna show you guys how to trim a brisket today from start to finish. And then I'm gonna flip it over. We're gonna throw it on the smoker with the fatty part facing towards the firebox. 12 hours later, our brisket's done. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in half. You always wanna cut against the grain. You wanna see the fat cap is really beautiful smoke ring on the bottom. Aspiring cooks or pit masters that are watching this, échale ganas. You can do it if I can do it. Just work hard, put God first, put your family first, and then everything else will follow.
And my wish for 2025 is health, prosperity, world peace. I just want everyone to come together and love each other.
Mi deseo, or my wish for 2025, is to be able to visit my grandma one more time in Peru and celebrate being a married woman and get to have her by my side as I transition into a new era of life.
My wish for this upcoming year is just to see what life has in store. We're not entirely sure, but every day is a new adventure, and as long as I take advantage of it, that's all that matters.
Mi deseo is that everyone gets to spend a loving holiday with their family and enjoy the time they get to share together.
My wish for 2025 is just to live in a place where we can all be united, we can all love each other, respect each other. I would love to learn more about other cultures and share my culture with everyone around, my friends and coworkers. So yeah, basically that's my wish for 2025.
My wish for 2025 is that we continue to just get together, not just with friends and family, but with new friends, new family, continue to grow the traditions and continue this fun La Vida tradition too.
And my wish for the new year is just, kindness and looking out for one another and our neighbors. You don't know who needs help, and just kind of like watching out for one another.
So with all of us here, there is an important conversation to have about mental health, and it's a conversation that we shouldn't be afraid to have. So I ask, how has your experience been when it comes to facing mental health? Itza?
Definitely. Well, especially around the holidays. As Latinos, many of us have family back in our countries and we miss them. And it's events like this, making tamaladas with your friends, just bringing those traditions back here and share it with friends. It makes you feel closer to home, and it helps a lot, just getting closer with friends and hanging out with friends around the holidays. And it's important of speaking up about how you feel, your emotions. It's okay sometimes to feel a little sad that you're not back at your country or that you're missing family, and it's amazing to have friends that will be willing to listen to you. So it's good to speak up.
I think that's great insight. Thank you for sharing, Itzel. And I think about you too, Maria, because I've heard about your experiences when you first got here to the United States. I mean, you're born in Peru.
I was blessed enough to have family that we were very open with each other, and we always checked in on how we were feeling. I just feel blessed that, I did have my mom and my brother here. You have to life is what you make it.
Yep. Life is what you make it. And it's got, like I said, it's okay to talk about mental health, because guess what? I love what Robin Roberts says on Good Morning America. Everybody's got something. And you spoke with a group making sure that this does not stay taboo in the Latino community.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's just brush it to the side, or we don't talk about that. Or I think in our culture, a lot of times we make jokes, or, we just don't want to address it head on. But the good thing about this group is they're tackling it head on. They're trying to destigmatize the issue. And what I love is now's the time for progress. We're talking about it. We're seeking help. And really, I see a lot of progress with the next generation trying to really heal.
Like my therapist told me back when I lived in Albuquerque, it is the strong who seek help. Here's Adriana's story.
All right, ladies. How are we doing?
With busy hands.
It's a very powerful thing.
And open hearts.
Anybody want to share?
Classrooms filled with mental health professionals.
We're learning to be resilient in the face of adversity.
Are tackling a topic
that's really hard.
That in the Hispanic community,
Mom goes on to disclose her domestic violence.
Often goes unaddressed.
She was scared to tell me.
Or even ignored.
Setting boundaries with Latino parents is really hard.
That's why the Canenta Foundation dedicated an entire weekend in Dallas for a conference.
Welcome to Texas.
Addressing Hispanic mental health.
I'm just getting some education.
It's a chance for therapists and professionals to connect.
It's intense.
It's intense.
Yeah.
And learn new therapy tools to help others heal.
The beauty in it all is that we're helping people who did not know about therapy.
The goal here is to break the stigma.
Stigma is so real, and there's always a saying, you don't, wash your dirty laundry in somebody else's house. You keep it in your house.
Counselor Elizabeth Jurado kept it in herself until college. A free therapy session led to transformation.
It just came out.
What came out?
Tears, brokenness, a feeling of being lost. Even though I was pursuing my education, I was representing my family. Being the first, in my family to go to college was a big deal. And I felt that I was just broken.
Broken by issues that often force Latinos to experience mental health differently.
In the Hispanic families, it's the dynamics. It's coming into a different country.
From immigration to escaping violence and generational trauma.
We feel the pressure to fix.
It's only the beginning.
One of the other challenges is addressing the mental health disparities that our families face.
The National Alliance on Mental Illness found that each year, only 35% of Hispanic or Latino adults with mental illnesses receive treatment, compared to the U.S. average of 46%. The Alliance says it's because there are many barriers to care.
I think it's still a challenge.
In this unassuming building in Fort Worth's North Side, Gabriela Garcia founded the nonprofit Dream Big, where she grew up, providing therapy, even food and housing resources at no cost for families in need.
I remember in high school I had a teacher that said, people like you grow up, are successful, leave your communities. So how are your communities ever going to get better? And so that always stuck with me.
And she says now more than ever, families are increasingly seeking help.
It gives me hope for the future.
One person at a time.
Échale ganas, you are worthy.
And one affirmation at a time.
It's an art to be able to do that.
The work begins here.
Tool to use in your self-healing and self-discovery journey.
To create a lasting difference.
So thank you again for enjoying this moment.
In DFW, I'm Adriana Dalba.
Did you know tamales are one of the world's oldest foods? Hunters and soldiers used to carry them as an on-the-go meal away from home. And over time, tamales became a culturally significant dish being served at feasts and even religious rituals. And speaking of foods, a major Hispanic food brand recently relocated here to North Texas from California. Our Chris Lawrence sat down with the CEO of Cacique Foods.
From queso fresco to crema mexicana, Cacique's products are everywhere, and Gil de Cardenas is running it from a new headquarters in Irving.
Has anything surprised you about being in Texas?
The weather. Can't get past the weather.
So what's it like uprooting a company after 50 years in California?
I had no gray hair before this decision. Now look at me.
How many states did you initially consider?
We started with 118 sites nationally that met our criteria. 8 states: Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Colorado, Idaho, Kentucky, New York, and I want to say Georgia. And when we got to Amarillo, we kind of felt something a little different there.
You'll hear why in a moment, but to understand the decision, you need to know his parents and where he was born.
What was their life like in Cuba?
Oh, that was very challenging. I remember times, for example, where my mom would make lunch or dinner and there was no food for her. My sisters and I would eat and she would sit with us, but she wouldn't eat. And
he still remembers communist soldiers coming to school trying to prove there's no God.
So they would do it is bow your heads and pray to God to give you candy. But lift your heads, does anyone have candy? Of course not. So now we're going to go by and please ask the state or the government for a piece of candy. Oh, you're 8 years old, 7 years old, the indoctrination has started.
And it might have taken hold had the family not left for Miami in 1971.
And then I walk in the grocery store and I see food. As much food as you could ever want.
Settling in Southern California, his father saw an opportunity. Gilbert Sr. fixed up an old plant and started making 80 pounds of cheese a day.
He would go door to door and sell a pound at a time, hoping that next week it was 2.
Every day for a year and a half with no help.
I never heard him complain. We'd only see him on weekends.
That's a backbreaking schedule.
Yeah, but he did it happily.
Yeah.
It is.
Can you imagine how proud he was to watch his son Gil open a $90 million dairy plant last year? And to know there's a Cacique product on 8 out of every 10 grocery stores in the country.
Welcome, valued customer.
But Gil had to fight for every inch on the big grocers' shelves.
You got to show them the data. And even then it's kind of like, let's try it. Let's, again, a few stores. And a few more, and a few more, and before you know it, you're in the entire chain.
Follow instructions on pin pad.
At what point did you think about moving?
About 6 years ago.
Having conquered the West Coast, Cacique was getting interest from grocers in Florida, New York, Michigan.
All the states that we would have a difficult time shipping into because of fuel costs, freight costs. So Texas, Amarillo, for example, has the 3rd largest milk shed in the country. So we have milk available to us an hour away, as much as we need.
And like the dairy plant, executives needed to be closer to customers too.
So we wanted something near the airport for travel purposes.
And sure enough, you can see DFW from the new headquarters in Irving. Cacique offered to take all its employees to Texas, but some couldn't make the move.
But here's the cool part. The people that did come all bought a house. None of them had a house, but it was theirs. It just dawned on me like, oh my gosh, you can do that here. Yeah. You can actually, and they have.
Like the wide open spaces Texas is famous for, the move has opened Cacique to a world of possibilities.
Where do you see the company going?
Mexican food continues to rise. It'll continue to be part of the Americana that it is today. We haven't started talking yet about overseas, other markets, other places that are not grocery stores. We just have to continue to stay focused on who we are, what got us here, continue to improve, and leave the rest to Him. And we'll be there.
Yo soy un padre, yo soy un policía, yo soy mexicano, yo soy Tony de la Cerda. I was born in Mexico, came over to the United States when I was about 8 years old. My passions is playing soccer, being part of the community, and making sure that the young generation has someone that can mentor them, that can guide them, so that we can become better as we go along. I find it interesting that I am a goalie, but also I am a police officer. I wear 2 uniforms on a daily basis. I wear my soccer uniform with pride, and then I also wear my Texas State Trooper uniform with a lot of pride and passion. As a police officer, we tend to say we hold a thin line, and as a goalkeeper, you try to maintain that balance in the game, whether it's holding opposing team and keeping them from scoring, or maintaining your own players so that doesn't matter what play the other team does, they don't get to our side. You'll be surprised about this fact about my culture and my country is that they're big on baseball as well, not just soccer. Just like I've become a Texas State Trooper and I worked hard and I dedicated myself to becoming one, that shows that you too can do it. If you put the hard work, the dedication, you can become whoever you want. No, es parte del sueño americano. As I was growing up, my parents always used to tell me, échale ganas, mijo, which means you need to work hard to be able to achieve whatever goal you have in mind. If I can do it, you can do it. Échale ganas.
We've had such a great time today. Thank you so much for joining us. And guess what? The tamales are ready. And so we're going to do a quick taste test.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely delicious.
So good.
From our La Vida family to yours, Felices Fiestas!